Hello dear friends, dear people, I'm Lucien. In this video I'm going to wrap up the lockdown. In Spain, I'm living in Spain, and we're allowed to sport individually, so that means we can go basically everywhere as long as it's sport, and there's some other things we can do. We're 1 week ahead of the rest of Spain, so that's beautiful. This video is about my personal take on the lockdown situation in the world, and I look at some very positive things that are happening in the world and are continue to happen. Of course, there are a lot of shadows, there is a lot of things going on. That's basically most of it coming from fear, which is totally okay. So I'm gonna look into that one. And basically, I just started this video and there was a wild bee just behind my window. I got it and put it out. It reminded me I was making a walk very close to my house in the lockdown, and suddenly I saw thousands of wild bees, and they're making these holes in the ground, and they go into the, they put their eggs into that hole, put a little bit of earth, and they're swimming around, and then the baby bees that basically have to break out of their egg, I suppose, and then they come out, and there's like this buzzing, and I've never seen that. And I think, for example, in Holland these bees are kind of extinct, and here there were like hundreds of them. Never saw that before. So that brings me to the first amazing positive, the amazing thing that's been happening is nature reset. So the nature reset is massive. It's almost nature has stopped us, because let's say that a virus is part of nature. Let's assume that, and has put something on the humanity to stop for a long period of time, and to be able to reset, to be able to nurture itself into a natural state of balance. And this is obviously happening all around us in the world, and that's amazing. I really feel that, and it's as part as it is a huge reset for ourselves, our souls, our beings, our values. This has been a huge period of introspective for billions of people on the planet, a unprecedented going inside forced retreat, but with amazing possibilities for billions of people. This is like unique, never happened in the world before. So this is really ecstatic, amazing actually. So that's one of the very positive things that's happening. Maybe the most positive thing that could have happened. The second is our world consuming machine has stopped kind of on the spot. And probably I don't have to tell you how amazing that is, in the sense that we have been creating this habit of consuming, and this has to be produced, and we're consumers. There's production, there's like basically a huge machine that is keeping us feeded, that's keeping us, giving us tools, technology, they're giving us things to survive, sort of. And most of it has stopped up till the essentials, let's say the essentials. So all the things you've seen happening in let's say the authorities bringing forward like rules that this is essential, this is not essential. You can actually extrapolate that. You can mirror that to a spiritual world where it's exactly the same. It's like bringing us to our essential, like to our essential values, to our story we believe in. And this story has been tested. This story is still being tested on a huge global scale. Because, let's face it, our belief system is made out of culture. The culture we live in is a story. It's a story that has been told for ages, and we believe in that story, and we kind of agree on the rules in that story. For example, money is an agreement. The way law is an agreement. There are many deep settled fundamental agreements on how to behave, how to be, actually it's an answer on the question like, what does it mean to be human? This cultural setup defines how we see ourselves as a human. And this has been reset as well, because if you go to a zero state, there all other possibilities appear again, because you're out of your habit pattern, you're out of your daily machinery of being a working bee for the machine and being just a producing unit in most cases in the system. So this is a system reset, and so the opportunity is amazing. And I mean, if I look around, many of my friends have gone deep inside and have re-evaluated, evaluate, you know, the word value is also in there, their lives, their habits, their patterns, all of this, and they're coming out reborn. This was a channel, a birth channel, and this has been a birth of something which is called, let's say, a new paradigm, and you know, it's basically the universe asking you, like, what will be your role in this new paradigm? And it, you know, like, do you feel that paradigm, or are you stuck in your old habit patterns, which is okay, and maybe you're afraid to deal or to embrace a wider perspective and a wider story, because we can, all of us collectively, we can move towards another story. And I believe that's slowly happening already, and this has been a huge reset of those values, and from those values and a new way of life, a new lifestyle, comes a new culture. And I think this is essential to bring a new belief system, a new culture, a new story into our lives, to embrace different values, and that those values will be much more in the direction of unity, working together, leaving behind competition, our fight and our competition for never enough money, like more for me is less for you. This is kind of the old story, you know, and it worked quite a while. I mean, like, we have, after the Industrial Revolution, we have thrived, let's say, in our producing capacity and enjoying our technology, and many diseases have been cured. I remember my father had a heart, you know, like something that's got stuck in the blood circulation, and they just go inside and he's awake and he can look at it at the screen, what's happening inside, and they take away that little prop of blood, and that basically saved his life. And it was like a 20-minute operation, and the next day he walks out of the hospital with some medicines. But this is miracle, you know, this is a miracle. 200 years ago he was dead, or 100 years ago. So technology has brought us, science has brought us amazing stuff that extends our lives. And the main thing that in that old paradigm, that old story, that probably is getting like obsolete, like it's not working that well anymore, is a story of separation, that we are separate beings, we're separate from nature, we're individuals in our little block houses, watching TV, consuming, and being disconnected from a source that is wider than us and bigger than us, and it's nature. So this disbalance, which the old Indians from Mexico called Koyanchkatsky, has led to a huge disbalance in ourselves, basically. And of course, a massive exploitation of Earth, of our resources. So this we all kind of know. So why would we continue in that story when nature is showing us, shut the fuck down, like, you know, like lock the fuck down and think about what you're doing. This is, of course, what's been happening. And all of your individual answers to that question can be a thread on the wavery, tapestry of that new culture, of that new story. And if we collectively choose to adapt and to embrace that new story as a new culture, this is the ground, this is the foundation of new agreements. And this can be an agreement about exchange, like how we exchange our goods and services, let's say money. And it can be new rules about law, it can be, and in my perspective, this whole process, if you zoom out, we're going from pyramid to flat, then we spread and we connect. What do I mean with it? We have been living in a system of pyramids, which means centralized governance, centralized cooperation, centralized everything almost. That means, like, we have developed this because centralization once was invented because we were an agricultural society, and some of the people were making food for themselves, but then other people start making tools, like for the horses, and other people start making, like, you know, making music and other stuff, and then they needed to be fed. So of course there was, you know, like a kind of a body of people that needed to make some decisions for the common good, you know, for everybody, which then would be made faster and easier than like the whole village would get together and decide on everything, which happened in the past. So centralization was a good way to deal with politics and with decision making. And this has grown into our history. And for a long time, this working for the common good has been the fact, until sadly the system that was created was making it possible for basically exploitation and basically let's say sucking up the means that were made for the commons to just benefit fewer people and fewer people. And this system is going on for like now hundreds of years. It has worked quite well, even maybe until the 1970s, 80s, maybe even 90s. But this system means basically that the power went up to the top. The power went up to the decision makers, and that's the politicians. And basically, finally, the people that produce the people that produce goods and services, but also the financial services, the money. So let's say the money, in my opinion, is the root of the disbalance, because the corporations have become entities. They're made by humans, but the system allows them to profit and to suck up wealth that the people down in the pyramid make. And then the extra wealth you make, you get your loan, you get your salary, but there is this huge part that basically is sucked up. And the people in the top of the pyramid also have made laws in place to basically make middlemen that stand between our natural exchange suck up that money as well. And basically this pyramidal system is not working, it's not serving us anymore. It's getting slowly obsolete. And I guess the people in the top of the pyramid feel that. Basically they are, they're used to extracting all that wealth from what people produce, what the middle class produce. And they have put laws in place through politicians to protect them, and some of the people are even immune from any responsibility. For example, I think the director of the Federal Exchange in America, that change, kind of the people that decide what interest rates go up and down, and that how much money can be printed. They are outside any responsibility because the laws have put them there. Anyway, I don't want to make this too much political, but you have to understand that money is really the pyramid system. And the money sucked up to the top through middlemen is the core of most of the problems we're facing today. If you go a few levels down, you always find money as money has power in itself. It's a magical thing, and we have given that power to that money collectively as an agreement, as we have made a story of money something that's scarce. So the scarce money is putting us in this competition for never enough money, because it comes with interest. Debt, it comes with debt, and it comes with interest. And if we get $1,000, we have to give the 1,000 back plus interest. But the money is made out of nothing, and so we're always competing for getting more money. So we basically turned all the free things that were free before in nature, for example, and nature itself, into commodities, because we have to pay the interest to the bank when we start a new venture, a new company. So this is not working anymore, guys. This is about, we can let this go. This story, we have to move into a new story. And this lockdown, coming back to the lockdown, is two things. So it's the natural reset of nature itself, which is always bigger than us. We're just ants walking on the earth, and nature is way more big, it's bigger. And our story is, we can question our story right now. Everybody has had an amazing time, free time, to question their belief in the truth. And people are finding their own truth. And this process always needs to be respected, because if people want to defend the old story that has been told through media, the story of culture is also popular culture. It's movies, it's music, it's like our pop stars have become gods, and DJs and so on. So this story is really in a system, and when you have to let it go, we have insecurity. We have a huge gap if we don't know how to fill up that new story, like what to believe in. People are questioned, like, is this true? And this is a very confusing time for many, very confusing, and very, very, fearful, because every human growth, is depending on the question how much uncertainty you can handle. And that means like how much of your own belief you are willing to let go, to be open to a new story that's maybe just better, and it's just giving humanity a possibility to thrive, to humanity to, again, it's the question, like, culture is the answer on the question, what does it mean to be human? If we redefine that now with groups coming together through values, and that's happening already for many years. I live in Ibiza, and people come together and they are seeing through the old story, and then you can call it like indoctrination or brainwash, or that's fine, give it some words, but you can free yourself from this. You don't have to follow that if you don't want to. And this is happening already in the let's say the conscious hubs in the world, where people come together and celebrate those values in themselves, because they feel that's their truth. And they want to have like eco villages, they want to live close to nature and balance with nature, and they do everything to adapt that lifestyle away from consumerism, to just live from the land and create stuff that has a lot of value, from wood, like like beautiful things made out of with a spirit. So we don't have to live from cheap stuff, that's cheap. So if we buy all that cheap stuff, our lives become cheap. And do we want that? Do we still want a cheap life? Or do we start to feel there's way much more to this life, and life is meant to be a beautiful adventure. It's like an amazing gift, and we want to give back. We want to give back to nature, to our life. And by doing that, we're that gives a lot of joy. Our birthright is joy. We are here to celebrate life together and to be joyful beings, lightful beings that share and give. And this is increasingly has become very difficult to give, because there's no money in giving. Like the giving is not rewarded by a money system, it's taking. It's like hoarding, like to be safe, to feel safe, we have to hoard all this material stuff. And we build our castles with security cameras, and we hold on to this, what if they come and get it? Who? So there's fear, there's a lot of fear, basically. So these two things, the reset and the pyramid system, that is now changing through people, through their values, and coming together. That's what I mean with coming together. So we go from pyramid to flat. We spread, so this means this virus of consciousness is spreading, maybe on the real virus, on the COVID. There's another thing around it that's like the virus of consciousness that is spreading through people, because you have to step up. You have to step up to the truth. When you have this threat coming, like attacking your health, well, the most basically common things to do is raise your immune system, raise your vibration, raise your health in yourself, because nature gives all your wisdom and intelligence to cure anything. We are healing beings. We give life to life. We're able to give life to life. We're able to basically just renew our cells. That's happening already in my body right now. Millions of cells gets renewed. And that trust is also broken through that old story that we can't heal ourselves. We can't, we need pills, we need all that stuff from outside to actually, basically that numbs us out. There's a lot of numbing out going on in the world. But do you still believe in that story? That's the core question. Do you embrace those values? Or do you feel deep inside, your soul is saying, maybe that's no longer true. It was true, it helped us, it served us. It served my life. I have I have an amazing life. I can take care of my family. I have all I need. And maybe you don't. But still there's a basic kind of security and money and da-da-da-da. What do you need? Do you believe in that story of culture? Or do you want to embrace another story, which is your own truth? Because it cannot be imposed on you. Truth cannot be imposed on you. If you believe that the virus, is really terrible, it's going to kill millions of people, and, we're going to have vaccines and borders closed and control and all of this. Every thought you give to that is from fear. It's because your freedom is inside. Nobody can take your freedom. People like Mandela have proven that. People like Bolivar, the freedom fighters of this world, they first felt it in themselves. So that makes me come to my last point, and this is what I've been dealing myself as a little bit of a conflict in this period, and let's call it the spiritual ignorance versus what is my role in this world to rebel and to speak out my truth and to wake up. Because I see there is a function in telling the truth, your own unique truth, if that's your truth, to tell it, and if that doesn't comply with the government like narrative or the story that's been told in the media, or what, like, if you feel that's not my truth, you're allowed to speak it out. I mean, we have freedom of speech, and speak it out, and I'm doing that right now, and I'm really thankful for that as well, and I will defend that with my death. I will defend the freedom is the most important thing, and millions of people have died for it in several wars. So my father was in the resistance in the war. He told me times and times again that, like, he was in the resistance, and that needed to be done. People need to be on the barricades. People need actually, and then the spiritual, like, wisdom would told me, like, no, that's bullshit. There are no enemies. Where, like, there's duality. You create, there is no enemy. Like, if you create that, like, if you think of that, you create one and you make an enemy. There's duality. You have to embrace the shadow of the world that's being purged. That's true. I'm trying to embrace what's happening as needed. Like, it's the shadow of greed fighting because it's cornered, and the shadow is getting more mean, and it's pulling out all the tricks to have that, to remain the structure of the pyramid. It's just pulling out all those tricks, like one after a time, after the other. And the only tool is basically spreading fear. And that's to control people, fear is just a great tool. And again, I've been working out this conflict in myself, because, like, is it enough to just be in my light and meditate and do yoga and feel really in my center, and from that center approach other people and embrace them in compassion and understand they're finding their truth, and just share my truth, but be human, open, keep my heart open. I don't want to lock down my heart. I don't want to lock down my heart and say those people are wrong. Let's dehumanize them. They're not you, and they're a threat. They're actually the problem. The people that now, embrace all those rules, and, like, because you get this social divide of the believers and the non-believers, and now this is actually what the people want, because divide and conquer. So if you don't believe in this division, because everybody is in this soul path up to awakening. Everybody on this planet is on his soul path to awakening. So if you shine that light, even shining that light might be enough on an energetic level, but there is a danger in only staying there, for me, just talk about me, because I would call that my own spiritual ignorance. Then I don't look at what actually is going on in the world. I look very selectively, and I make my truth bombs, and I use my light sword to cut out the bullshit if I want. And but there is a rebel in me that also feels, no, this guy in Holland, like this lawyer, is supporting the other guy who's making newspapers that are the andere krant, the other newspaper. Because, this is my last thing that I'm going to say, what is happening is things are being revealed. The system that has been told, our culture of there's a lot of lies in there. There's a lot of non-truth, in the sense that people are really told a story that from the essence of what we are as human beings is basically not true. And that means that now things are popping up, which is another third beautiful, amazing thing. Things are getting revealed. Things are getting revealed that were under the surface, because the layer on top of that was so intelligent and clever that people just bought into it right away, because they were kind of happy enough with their income and their life, So what's now being revealed is that the media corporations, the mainstream, is just a corporation. It's an entity. It's a pyramid. It's a cartel. So people in the top decide what the news must be, and the people that are, like, under there, the news readers, they're just getting their paper and they're getting their money, and they don't want to lose their job, and they're just kind of, they're telling that story to the people, which is a huge responsibility, because millions of people still believe that story, that narrative. But this is also, like, we are seeing so clearly now, there's just one big bullshit machine going on, So if you, and on many levels we see what, this is revealing that basically how it works. So it's you can sit back with popcorn and see like, wow, you know, this is how it worked for decades, and now it's revealing its true face. And maybe it's an ugly face, but we don't have to believe it, you know. So we can make another newspaper. And this guy in Holland, the anderekrant.nl, because like he's making this amazing newspaper with people that are like gathering now around other values. So this is actually what I'm coming back to. These people embrace their own truth. They're seeing through all the bullshit, and they're creating words, which words can mean freedom. Words are so important to be able to speak, because our thoughts and our minds create our reality as well. So if people get in touch with another reality, that's amazing. That's the cornerstone of democracy. It's like dispute, arguments. It's you know, like people making up their minds. And if this is censored in the massive way that it is right now, which is completely against any free speech, you know, and it's called conspiracy, and it's called like, and Facebook is just having their teams to wipe it out, you know, and David Icke is just, you know, and he's just telling his truth. So we can't hear them because that's a danger for our health. Sorry, that's complete censorship. So, you know, like, this can make me angry, and then, yeah, but that's good, because this things like, but the good thing is that it gets revealed. It's get revealed that it works like that. And now, this pyramid will also come down into decentralized newspapers that are not depending on money from advertisement in the old system, but, you know, from contribution from people. So this is a new system, and the internet is great for that. You can donate, you know, like it's, and I think it's going to be more crypto in the future. That's my other thing. But okay, for this newspaper, they're going to make 1 million copies, because of 5th of May in 2 days is Liberation Day in Holland. And the government is going to say, we'll guard your liberty. We will here to stand on the front barricades to fight this war on the virus and to keep you safe with all kind of controlling technology. So when you give you so much fear that you're going to die of this terrible virus, we're going to protect you by taking all your freedom. So, hello. So basically, these people step out and they make this newspaper. So if you live in Holland, you still have time to go to distribution points, order your 1,000 newspapers, 10,000, and spread them. Spread your papers, and they're free. You can donate if you want, but the most important thing is distribution. For, you know, this kind of amount of, you know, papers, they need distribution. I don't live in Holland. If I would live in Holland, I would take like many papers and spread them to all my friends and connections, because this is amazing, and people are doing things. So, you know, like I also want to mention in oorlogreedsverloren.nl, this guy I just recently discovered. And this kind of people also offer solution to step out of the system, like download a paper that is actually legal to not pay tax, because there is a situation of overmacht, of, you know, behind powers, which the government uses. So citizens also are actually able to use it on a legal basis. So it's not anarchy, you know, like it's not, oh, this story is gone, you know, from all these left people doing anarchy and against the system. Well, we created that system. So if we're strong enough in our collective story, if we move to another story and embrace that new story of the new paradigm and create the foundation by living together, living from the land, living in harmony together and help each other, giving our generosity as a social dividend, and people will help you from that social dividend in outside of a money system, even a barter system, or we're going to introduce a decentralized, you know, technology to arrange our exchange, but it needs to be fully decentralized. Then this is the future, guys. So, you know, you can step in there, you can stay in there, it's all good. It's your process of truth finding. I've done my work, I've done my deeper process of truth finding, and one of the things that come out is making these videos. That's the rebel, that's the Lucien that wants to speak his truth and shine his light and share his wisdom. And I think that's hugely also needed, because I hope it's needed. I hope, you know, you get inspired by my words and you want to dive a little bit deeper in your own truth. That's, you know, like it's not diving deeper in Facebook, because that's the expression of confusion, and it's the expression of the divide that's going on in the you know, like the in-group and the out-group, and people are fighting. And like, I share some stuff there, but it's like a snake pit. And that's a possibility. I keep on doing it, but stay in your frequency, stay in your own belief in your own truth, please. I'm not telling you anything to, you know, like, no, I don't want to impose any truth. It's just the resonance, it's the alignment and the energetic alignment that you can feel in your heart, because at the end we have an intelligence in our heart that knows everything. Our heart knows everything. Your heart has an intelligence that is unbelievable. It's like knows like how to cure yourself, what food is good for you, what you need to take in, what you have to close for some moments. But don't stay too long closed as a defense mechanism and as a spiritual lockdown, and put, you know, like don't look at that, because that's maybe, you know, like ignorance, the spiritual ignorance. So we need also warriors, we need light warriors with swords, we need actual people on the ground that are actually rebelling against a system that's imploding, it's imploding, and when we shake it strong enough, it will implode faster. Shake the system, guys. Yeah, you know, from love, from awareness, and it's totally non-violent. It's with words, and it's with like speaking out, and it's exiting the system. So there are many ways to do that. I will come back to it in the next video. Thank you for watching. It's already half an hour. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your last week of lockdown. Take everything out of it what you can. I mean, I was driving yesterday on the island and I did shopping, and there was nobody on the road. Like, and I realized this is so unique. This is maybe never gonna happen again. And this is a symbol of our journey inside. And now we have an amazing ability when we go outside to not do things anymore, let go of habits, like not buy in literally to products that you don't need. Don't, you know, buy that supermarket food, you know, like whatever game for like 5 hours a day, or spend 6 hours on Facebook, you know, contributing to your theft of data. There's all going to be platforms, there's going to be like communities, they're already here, circles. Connect to your circle, find your tribe, and if you're not into it yet, and embrace that value, because those values are going to create, they are the threads of the tapestry of our new culture. And from this story, we will have a unity, loving, harmonious, in balance with the planet, respectful, responsible, focused on balance and our personal growth in harmony with technology that can serve us finally. It doesn't have to be against us. We can use it, blockchain, to cut out this middleman, to redistribute the wealth from the top of the pyramid into the wallets of all. This is going to happen. It's already happening. So I'm super excited about these times. I keep on sharing my truth, and I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.